In a quiet room in Rome, Paul was busy. Even though he was a prisoner, he wasn't lonely. His friend Epaphras had just arrived from a city called Colossae with big news. Epaphras leaned in, telling Paul how the people there had learned to love others. "They have so much faith," Epaphras exclaimed. Paul smiled and reached for his parchment. He wanted to write them a letter to tell them that Jesus is the most important person in the whole universe. Paul looked at his young friend Timothy and began to dictate the most amazing description of Jesus. "He is the image of the invisible God," Paul said. He explained that Jesus was there before the stars were made and that he holds the whole world together. Timothy's eyes went wide as he wrote down the words. They realized that because Jesus made everything, he is the king over every king and the Lord over every mountain. Epaphras told Paul that some people in Colossae were getting confused. They thought they needed secret magic or complicated rules to be close to God. Paul shook his head. "No," he told Epaphras. "Jesus is enough. He is the head of the body, and we are the members." Paul wrote that just as a tree grows deep roots to stay strong in a storm, the Colossians needed to keep their roots deep in Jesus so they wouldn't be blown away by silly ideas. Paul told Timothy a wonderful secret. "The mystery has been revealed," he cheered. He explained that God's great plan wasn't just for a few people, but for everyone. The best part? Jesus didn't just stay in heaven. He lives inside the hearts of those who follow him. Paul called this, "Christ in you, the hope of glory." It was like having a bright light shining inside them that would never go out. Paul finished the letter and called for his trusted friend, Tychicus. "Take this to Colossae," Paul instructed. "Tell them that they have been made full in Christ. They don't need to worry about old shadows or rules about what to touch or taste. The reality is Jesus." Tychicus gripped the scroll tightly, knowing he carried a message that would change lives. He was ready for the long journey across the sea. Tychicus didn't travel alone. His friend Onesimus went with him. They walked over dusty roads and sailed on creaky ships, talking about the letter the whole way. Onesimus was returning home, and he felt brave because of Paul's words. They knew that in Jesus' kingdom, it didn't matter where you came from or what your job was. Everyone was part of the same family. When they finally reached Colossae, a boy named Linus was the first to see them. "The messengers are here," he shouted. Tychicus climbed onto a stone bench and began to read Paul's letter to the gathered crowd. Linus listened carefully as Paul told them to set their sights on things above. Paul wanted them to think about heaven and the goodness of God instead of just worrying about their daily chores. Linus heard Paul's advice about how to treat his friends. Paul said they should take off their old grumpy attitudes like dirty clothes and put on new clothes instead. Linus imagined himself putting on a coat made of kindness and a hat of humility. His friend Nura stood nearby, and they both decided right then to forgive each other for a fight they had earlier. Paul wrote that love is the perfect bond that ties everything together. The letter also had a special message for the leaders. Paul mentioned a man named Archippus. "See that you complete the work the Lord gave you," the letter said. Archippus felt encouraged, and Linus watched as the leader's face lit up with determination. Paul reminded everyone that whatever they did, whether playing, working, or helping, they should do it with all their heart, as if they were doing it for Jesus himself.